Hey there guys, this is going to be a two-part video which I'm going to be talking about remote lines, why people would want to do them, what are the similarities between them, what does they all have, what is different between them, that kind of thing. Before I go on ahead and get fully into this video, this will be a two-part video. I do want to take a moment and say thank you to Critical Paintball. These guys will take care of you for all your paintball needs. They have an awesome selection, and they go on ahead and price match with anybody else that's out there. They're very knowledgeable. They have kick-butt customer service. I've ordered from them in the past. We'll continue to order from them in the future, provided if it's something that a local shop doesn't have. If you ever need to get anything online, I highly recommend criticalpaintball.com. So, I'm going to go on ahead and talk a little bit about this. I actually made one of these videos a while back, but I was really unhappy because there's some things that I didn't have that I've got now. So I wanted to remake this video with the stuff that I've got. First off, why might someone want to use a remote line? Well, there's a few reasons I can think of, and I'm sure there's probably other people out there who can come up with a lot of other reasons. First off is the weight of the air tank. These things can be pretty heavy. When you take a paintball gun, paintball marker, and you've got an air tank on there and a hopper full of paint, the whole thing can be fairly heavy. And if you can take off some of that weight, in some cases some people go to a smaller hopper, or they try and get the smaller paintball markers. But in this case, they'll sometimes even go with a smaller air tank. But in this case, if you can take your whole air tank off of your paintball marker, you could maybe, especially if you play recreationally, or you play out in the woods, or you might shoot a lot of paint, you can have a big tank like this. This is a 122 cubic inch tank. It's a pretty big size. If you can get that off of your paintball marker, you can put it in a backpack, or you might have a pod pack with a pouch specifically for it, or maybe you'll have a vest that'll have a pouch for it. You get that off, you lose some of that weight, and it makes it worthwhile. Another reason might be because of the length. I've got another tank here. It's a 22 cubic inch, 3,000 psi tank. This is a 122 cubic inch tank. They're both pretty long tanks that you can see right here. They're both pretty long, and something like this might be rather unwieldy for you if you're playing paintball. And you might want to go on ahead and just get that length off of your paintball marker to make it easier for you. Some people are into the whole milsim stuff, so they might have their paintball marker look like an AK-47 or an M4 carbine, and when you put an air tank on there, it ruins the look of the paintball marker. So that might be another reason why people would end up wanting to do it. Like I said, other people out there will probably come up with other reasons, but that just happens to be a couple of the reasons I can come up with off the top of my head. So I have here two different remote lines with me to show you. First off, I want to take a moment and show you the similarities. Both of these remote lines start off with an on-off ASA. You want to use an on-off and not a regular ASA because you want this to be able to have your air tank and screw it on in. And I'll take this one to show you. I mean, it's like your typical one that you would screw an air tank into, on an ASA for a paintball marker. You screw your air tank on in, and you don't want that pin to engage right away, so that's why you have this as an on-off. Then you can turn this, engage the pin, air flows through, you're good to go. When you're done, you unscrew this, stops the air from flowing through, you just go on ahead and take care of draining out the air from the rest of the line in your marker, and then you can unscrew this air tank and you are good to go. Okay, so it starts off, like I said, pardon me, takes a moment, with an on-off ASA. The next step from this is your hose. Now, this one's what they call a coiled remote. It's a plastic that's heavy duty that can hold quite a bit of pressure. It's extendable versus this other one is steel braided hose. Okay, this is probably going to have a bit stronger. It's going to be, again, a rubber or plastic that's going to end up having the steel braid, so it's going to give it a better strength. It can withstand higher pressures than the other one. They're both going to be about the same in terms of roughly 3 feet in length, from the ASA, where it screws into the ASA, to the part here where your connector is. And both of them run with a 1/8 NPT threading connection. Now this right here is going to be your basic connector. That's the next part. This is how you connect this to your paintball marker. This is the basic system. It uses a female coupler. Okay? Female coupler, a male end connector, also known as a nipple. If you've got a high pressure air tank, this is how people will connect to fill the air tanks, is with this coupler, sticking it on, being able to fill. This is not the exact same male end connector, what they use with paintball air tanks for filling. This is just a, if you can actually see it, you might not be able to. It's just simply a pass through. There's nothing in the way. With the air tanks, they'll have something in there to block the air from coming out. Now this next piece, this black piece right here, this is the fun part. I'll show you one. Does not have the male end connector on it. Okay, this adapter starts off with this inner one is 1/8 NPT threading. NPT is National Pipe Threading. It's set up out there, so it's a specific threading diameter, in this case 1/8 of an inch. The threads themselves are set at a certain interval and a certain depth, and whatnot. This other part is typical for an ASA. It's the exact same as what would be on your air tank. And so all the air tanks, the CO2 tanks out there, are all going to have this same threading. Now I've heard of it called CGA 320. CGA stands for Compressed Gas Association. 320, just probably a number. I'm not sure if it per se refers to the number of threads or whatnot, but it's probably just 320 to make it easier. A technical term for this threading right here, very technical, long-winded one I've seen, is 0.825-14 NGO-RH-EXT. Okay, so what does all that mean? Well, the 0.825 refers to inches and the outside diameter. That's your outer diameter of this part right here. It is 0.825 of an inch. Okay, the 14 is teeth per inch. If these are the teeth right here, these grooves that are set up, you guys can see, my thumb kind of put a little background. Those grooves, if you were to set up, had a whole inch worth of it, there'd be 14 of them in an inch. It might go smaller, might go bigger, they might use different ones, but for paintball we're using 14 teeth per inch. NGO is National Gas Outlet. Another standard out there. I'm sure it's been set out there from hundreds of years of people using these kind of fixtures. RH, right hand. That means when you put it in, you turn it to the right-handed, to screw it in. And then EXT, external threaded. This is externally threaded. These are internal threads. Okay, so there's your the definition for this technical term for what this is. This just goes into a paintball marker's ASA. I'll show you the one right here. Right into a paintball marker's ASA, and then you connect your female end coupler, and your air can go right on through. Pretty simple, pretty easy. It's been around for a very long time. Some cases people have a stock, and in the stock they have actually the hole for one of these fill nipples to go into, so they can do that. And they just get rid of the adapter altogether. So this is the first part, and I'll be back in the second part. I'll talk a little bit more about this connector and any other relevant stuff I can think of. See you in a minute.